All right. We have another game for our viewing pleasure today. We're going to be having a silver player, Albertush, and Geordn, a Terran player, going up against each other. This was a post on Reddit, yeah, like many of my other videos. I believe there's some interesting responses and stuff. I did read a little bit before I got into it, but I just wanted to be very clear that this is another low level game, so we're going to be looking for areas where these players can improve, things that we see that they do very well, and of course, things that make it so that we can help them improve. So we're going to jump right into the match. I love that little skip that happens every time I tell it to launch. The submitter was the Terran. So we instantly jump into our changeovers that we like to do. So we have in the upper left-hand corner Albertush in the red as Protoss, and in the upper right-hand corner in the blue we have Geordn. Both players start out well. Again, we have SCV production. Okay, let's pause right there. Right now, we are missing production on our command center. This is great. This is perfect rally. This is exactly what you want to do. The downside is this player has delayed the production of this SCV by a significant amount of time. Geordn, this amount of time that you have here, that's time that it could be mining versus it going here. It's okay to get supply blocked. You did get supply blocked. But I'm going to just jump us, if I can remember the commands, can I go back to, nah, I'm not going to go all the way back to the As soon as the game starts, you got your SCV done. Excellent. 0 seconds is always my goal. 1 second, 2 seconds, okay, not a big deal. Protoss doesn't have a worker started yet. You rally across correctly, not a problem there. I would queue up this SCV as soon as I can. Queue, click, 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 click. Because we stop right here. We are at 12 seconds. Your SCV is alive. We can start production. If you have it queued up, you actually start on the next tick, which means that it is physically faster for you to have it queued up than for you to not queue it up. In addition, you have 100 minerals. That means this should be starting a supply depot right there. That's not a good place to start a supply depot. No, it's not. We don't like that. So that's why you actually want to build that SCV. Not a big deal, just something to be aware of. Also, your production tab is empty. Protoss hasn't built anything as of yet. He's just banking up a bunch of minerals. This leads me to believe that he's going to do a cannon rush. Obviously, we have God mode on. Blue player has no idea this is happening. We just got to be cognizant of the fact that this is probably what's going on. Builds a pylon in the middle of his mineral line. The 3 SCVs is 1 too many. You want to send 2 per probe to move the unit. That way, the probe is always has enough on it. You don't need to send. Okay. Good instincts, pulling your workers. Cannon rushes suck. Downside, you stop building SCVs. It is 2 workers to the probe. If you want to cut it off, so you grab a bunch and you see them go behind your mineral line, you send them over here to block them, right? That's okay. But to send all of this is way too much. In addition, you send 3 SCVs over to the probe pylon, and that will shut it down before the cannon is finished. And that means you can attack the cannon and kill it before it's got income. You immediately go to build another barracks, and you cancel it. That's okay. No, not a big deal. Another situation where the pylon is a million miles away. You allowed his first pylon to finish, which, if he runs over here, throws down a cannon. It's annoying, but whatever. I see that you're going to check it nice. It's almost like you have God mode. I know you don't, but that's going to be how the player's feeling. A refinery as fast as possible because you want to get tanks. They shut down cannon rushes immediately. Again, only 2 workers. If you have that many, just select your workers, hit shift, and click off 2 of them. As you can see, removed 2 from my group. Don't queue buildings. Just don't. You want to marine as fast as you can. These cannons are going to come up. You want to kill that probe so it can't get any closer. You want to outrange stuff when you can. So I probably would have built that earlier versus stacking another one of these. And of course, you wanted that refinery so that you could have gotten gas, so you could get a factory, so that you could have gotten a tank. No big deal. Your opponent on the other side of the map is doing absolutely nothing. If you had a Reaper, you can send it across. We know that there's other build orders. This is not the build order that lines it up. SCV's got attacked by the cannon. Sorry, that was my bad for missing it. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. It's a cannon rush. Make sure you do exactly what you're doing here with the micro, controlling the push forward so that it can't get to you. Keep your stuff back. Use hold position. Make sure you shut down pylons, or make sure you're killing things that are outside of the range of the other cannons. He's going to continuously, slowly move forward. Don't do that. Oh no, you lost so many Marines, and now you're in trouble. This is where you need a tank. A tank would shut this down immediately. It is a very intense game for you, and I see you're getting your factory, you get your tank up. Your tank should have been up about 30 seconds ago, about now in that area. I know that it's stressful and it's intense, so I'm not gonna... You could be faster. Again, we're gonna go a little bit fast, simply because this is one of those situations where it's a cannon rush that will eventually get shut down by a tank or multiple tanks. We're just gonna kind of watch as the Terran loses Marines to the cannon rush that's just slowly whittling towards him. Oh no! Oh no, don't put your tank in range. Oh goodness. Whew. Could have been much worse. You are in a really, really rough situation now. Having two tanks is going to save your behind. I actually want to jump back a little bit into that because I do have it on a higher speed. So you see this happening right here? This Marine over here and attacking, and just get those three on it. You'd have killed it. No big deal. Tank is out. Should be rallied to where you want it to go, like there, over here, whatever, so that way you can start protecting your command center. Expand! You could have expanded much earlier. Instead of sending all these Marines to their deaths, you could have sent them across the map. You could also repair this. You don't need to unsiege. Had it just stay sieged, it could have attacked and it would have been fine. You didn't need to worry about pulling it back. Too much micro. That's okay. You're under stress, and we get it. Also, put it... you did decide to move again before you put it back in the siege, which is great. Perfect. As you can see, it killed that one cannon. Your Marines can start attacking these. They're not doing anything. Your tank is going to prioritize the completed cannons. It's not going to prioritize the cannons that are closest to it. So you need to either click the thing that you want to hit. As you can see, this cannon is really close and it's just doing damage. Nice, didn't get the cancel, but eventually you have this situation where you're going to be having to deal with that. See a single tank kill, shot, you can go back, you did great. So your Marines over here, attack the pylon. You can always click on the building. Let's go to your view. Click on the building. You know what that building's going to be because it comes down here. So you know what's going on. That's also how you tell what upgrades your opponent has. That's a note for the future when you eventually get to like Platinum, Diamond, Masters, GM. But just something to be aware of. Your opponent's still not doing anything at home. Does not realize that their cannon rush is completely shut down because this tank, these tanks, just the tanks alone is enough to shut this completely down. I would move this tank forward, like right here, and it appears you are. Nice! That way you don't get hit with another flank on this. You can make it so that he's stuck inside of his base. Most cannon rushers, once they have an established space, they're going to get some kind of building that allows them to build units so that you can't just sit back and hang out in the back. You can effectively ignore this at this point. The only thing you need to do is make sure that they don't have warp prism or warp gate and warp in units here. So you need a couple of tanks, 4 or 5 Marines. Everything else you could have sent across the map. Just move it at his base. Kind of pay attention to it, just enough to make sure that if you run into more cannons, that you yourself are able to pull it back. You don't need to focus specifically on what's happening with the fight itself, right? You just need to make sure that you don't walk your army that is not supporting this across. You have almost 700 minerals. You still haven't expanded. I know we're at silver gold, but remember that we need to, when we have this much investment, you need to be able to position yourself in a way that makes it so that you take advantage of their over expenditure that you shut down. Simply getting a command center here, here, expanding, making it so you have more income, getting more tech. Starport is good. Getting additional production, income, making sure you're not supply blocked. We were supply blocked for a very, very long time, which I'll talk about after the game's over. Oh, that cannon is shooting your barracks. Oh no! Not going to be a big deal. You might lose an SC. Ended up getting lucky. Not. It was one shot away. 5 health. Very nice to have that 45 health instead of 40, right, guys? Go Terran. Jokes aside. These tanks, Marines, what are they doing? Unsiege them all? Send them across. Shut his game down. End it. This game should have ended forever ago. Because instead of sending your Marines continuously at the cannon wall, he sent 10 Marines over there, just A-moved them, and then built up. Good job, you got another command center. Nice. And built up enough to make it so that he could not continuously press forward until you had your tank. Which is why I'm like, hey, don't forget to head across the map, make sure you do some damage, make sure you are pressuring and ensuring that they're actually defending their base effectively, getting the right units, all that kind of stuff. Losing 10 Marines and having a wall in with multiple tanks, not really scary unless they go Void Ray. Which, if they go Void Ray, your 10 Marines should kill it. I'm not saying explicitly 10, I'm just saying a group of Marines. 8, just so you know, it is rows of 8, so what I have right now is 10 Marines in an SCV. Very quick math. You just simply look at them, and you look for groupings of 8, and you just kind of go off the 8 count. So you're really looking for 16 Marines or 8 Marines. The 10 that I'm suggesting is just a little extra hack of punch to make sure that you can get through the Void Ray or something, singular, one Void Ray. You've gotten yourself in a situation where you're safe. You're building a command center. You're teching up. You have all of the defenses you could ever want. You have all of the missile turrets. DTs, missile turret over here. That being said, I would set up my defenses down at the lower ground. You've already been mining these mineral patches for a very long time. You're going to start running out of minerals. If this was Legacy of the Void, you'd be perfectly fine. These mineral patches would have a lot more life in them. But, Legacy of the Void, they reduce the amount of minerals in it because they were forcing you to expand. So try and get 2-3 bases as soon as you can, while being able to understand what's coming, defend it, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you're not going to be a pro, so you're going to be sitting there saying, oh, I need XYZ number of units. You're going to say, I feel comfortable. I feel safe. This is overly safe, just to be absolutely clear. Like, you have so many tanks that you could be attacked by like 20 stalkers, and they would literally do no damage. Maybe break a supply depot. Good job on lifting and moving. Usually I prefer to put on location, especially if it's a cannon rush and you've pushed it off and they don't have any other units. But I understand why you were doing this. This is one of those things where it's like you're learning. You are doing a wonderful job spending your energy. That is, this is something that I have seen people that go all the way into the mid-plats not do. Sometimes you want to see what your opponent's doing. Scan their main base, check their natural, things of that nature. Just something like don't make everyone a mule, but pick times that make sense. In this situation, you defended a cannon rush for a long time. You need to see what your opponent was doing. Had you scanned them, you'd have known they had nothing. You could have literally walked across the base. They didn't even have a cannon at home. No cannons there. You could literally walk through everything with just a ball of Marines. Again, just trying to say, hey, check your opponent, right? They're checking you. They're saying, can you handle a cannon rush? You said, yeah, I can. Haha, screw you, I win. But you didn't check to make sure that they could handle your counterattack or resulting push after you stop the cannon rush. And now you're going to have to end up dealing with much higher tech, bigger units, more expensive stuff. And of course your opponent has expanded. They did a hidden base. Something to be aware, you can take your army, select just one unit from it, and move around the edges, and then re-control group. Or you take your army as a whole, you use whatever hotkey you're going to do, your F2 key. This is why you don't use F2, just to be very clear. But you grab your whole army, you move around the edges of the map, checking all the bases, and then you shift-click, one Marine, and then you right-click and bring everything back but that one Marine. Simple, easy mechanism to do that. It is an advanced tactic. Very interesting that you sent a squad directly over to the hidden base and clicked almost exactly on it. I'm not insinuating anything. It's just a very interesting click, position, and thought process that occurred. I would imagine this is because you've played a lot of silver and golds. One of my friends is a silver player, or a gold player now, actually. One of the things that he consistently did was he made a hidden base. He loved doing it. Problem is that when you attack with even half this many Marines, you can't defend it. Now, if he has Warp Prism, which he didn't, or Warp Gate, not Warp Prism. Look at me messing up the things. When you don't have Warp Gate, you can't even defend it at all. So that guy just sort of kind of let it go, sent all his probes home. He could have taken his natural, but right now he's got 22 workers at home. Oversaturation on his gas, and he's not mining his natural at all. Now he is, obviously. He's sent all his stuff home. And he's finally gotten a couple of cannons. Didn't even put down a shield battery. So he can't overcharge or any of that kind of stuff. And you're scanned. Look at that! Oh my god, you're doing things before I even get to get through the single game and post online for you to look at. Voids are very annoying. You have a lot of Marines. Wonderful job. You have Medivacs. Wonderful job. These Marines, since you scanned, just park it outside of his base. Make sure he can't get another base. Take one of these Marines, send it around the edge looking for other bases. Like maybe there's a hidden base here, maybe there's a hidden base here, maybe there's a hidden base here, so on and so forth. You're going to do a drop with the 2 tanks and 8 Marines. Not a bad drop, really late, but at your skill level, that's perfectly fine. The fact that you're even going to do it at all is kind of dangerous for your opponent. You're going to run right into his voids and see what happens here. Ooh, they see it. Your reaction is non-reaction. This is where I am bad at, too, personally. One of the things I am terrible at is paying attention to my mini-map, paying attention to my supply. I do a pretty good job of not getting supply capped because I've gotten comfortable with where my supply is. But I do get supply capped often. The other bit is this mini-map down here. I just, for whatever reason, my brain doesn't want to look at it. I'm always focused on the center of my screen. What I should probably do is just hang out over here and play with this being the center of my screen. So I would like focused over here. Because you should be using hotkeys if you're not using them. I see that you're using a couple of control groups. Ooh, look at that. You didn't put everything in control group. Sorry, back to what I was saying. You want to, make sure that you get everything in control group, but you got to check that mini map. You need to see where your army went. The pros, what they do is they flick. They go because what they're doing is they're checking to make sure that they're producing stuff. They're making sure that they have, and you can see your opponent's not even hotkeyed at all, right? But they're making sure that everything's under production. They're making sure that they aren't getting supply blocked. They're keeping an eye on their army. They're getting an idea of what upgrades they have, so on and so forth. They're looking to see if they're oversaturated. And I'm just smashing the spacebar. I have a remap for the, I think it's the default button, actually. No, the default button for the response to something occurring is space. I remapped it to all the command centers. It's like a big smash button when I do that. You don't follow my control scheme unless you want to. I'm not advising it in any way, shape, or form. I'm just letting you know that there is a button somewhere on your keyboard. I don't know what it is. For me, it's the space. Where you just mash that button and it just flicks through all your bases. It's great for Zerg. Just until you learn camera hotkeys, which we'll talk. I'm not going to bother talking about it in the shoot. You build these starports, but you don't have any control over. Oh, we have a fight going on over here. You push them off. You have enough Marines. You're getting more missile turrets. Missile turrets get completely slaughtered by Void Rays because they can just do their prism alignment and they evaporate it. He over-microed. He only sent 4 Marines. He has enough to be able to do that. He could have fought over the missile turret too. But you needed more Marines than just the 4. Again, you have not denied your opponent anything. You've never made it across the map. You're just sort of kind of chilling. He's going after tanks. Gets one of your voids. One of his voids. He is way oversaturated. He could be long-distance mining with so much more. He hasn't built his Nexus. He's just focused on his fight. You are producing things. Good job. Vikings, interesting choice. I don't have any problem with it. I get your thought process. You're just trying to get units out that can actually fight this and chase them over the high ground or over the dead zones. Perfectly fine. I get it. Again, you don't have any information on your opponent. Send 1 Marine. Just one. Just go, hey, Marine, click, a move. Just to see if they have the base. You don't even have to waste a skill. He's come back to his base. He doesn't have any shield batteries or anything like that. He's supply capped, and he's getting a fleet. Your opponent has not done anything at home forever. He's at 55 supply, you're at 122. You have no idea. You're on 3 bases. Good job. Upgrade to an orbital or planetary. You saw he's going air. Go for the air. Or go for the orbital because you're not conceding mountains. 4 minutes. Sorry. Wife decided to come down and ask a question. Good job on the scan. You now know what he has. grab your whole army, A move across the map, refill your refinery, grab all of your idle workers. There's one right there, right? That's your key. You have a bunch here, and you lifted here and landed here, which is perfectly fine. Good job on doing that. You are kind of low on gas relative to your income for minerals and getting supply capped. I would A move to this platform versus over here where there's rocks. It's more challenging, that kind of stuff. Speed up just a little bit. You're doing a good job of clearing the rocks. Perfectly cool. You can always go. You could clear that faster by moving your army in. So move command and then attack, because then you have all of these units. Do you see how this huge concave? That's awesome. But this all these units aren't doing anything. So when you see like a roach versus roach battle in Zerg, where they like move the roaches forward when they already are engaged, it's because they want to have the next row or the third row all attacking at the same time with that front row versus it just being the front row shooting. That's why you'll have roaches like hitting each other in the face very often, because the players can't figure out who has the advantage. Obviously you're Terran, so it's not necessarily your forte, but just something to be aware of. Your opponent has done a wonderful job of saturating the natural. You've done a wonderful job there. You didn't rebuild your stuff, but you're expanding across the map. You're covering everything. You have enough army. You're just slowly going to push them in, and it's very. I mean, for you, it may not have been obvious, but from the observer standpoint, this is very obvious. You're going to win. Your Vikings need to get back in the air so that way you can range down the stuff. I like the scan, but you do need, if your Vikings have just been in the air, then perfectly fine. You have air superiority. Continue to build your Vikings. Continue to rally them over on the other side of the map. And you're just going to move through everything he has. The game is over here very, very shortly. What was the message log here? Sorry, I know. Go here. Hi, hello, are you there? I asked nicely, please replay. Please let this game play out so I can have the replay. Are you all going to GG, or you have something to beat me, or there's no way I should have won this if you're going to let this play out? Please upload this to Loco or winner. What is happening? I obviously didn't see that, and it appears it's toward the very end here. He actually killed every single building, and that's why the game ended. What a wonderful game. Also, you might want to mix in some medevacs after you've lost them. I see that you're expanding like crazy. You have a huge lead on your opponent. You're near max supply. Just make sure that you kind of balance out your income and then continue to build your production up. Imagine if he had Storm with all these weak Marines, right? Theoretically, he could kill about half of them pretty easily, maybe a little bit more, maybe 3/4 of them. And yeah, you did use Stim. Great. Wonderful control. But just fair warning, he could have, if he was a little bit better and had gotten Storm and actually used it, you can eliminate all your Marines here pretty quickly. And the reason I say that is because you want to be able to replenish your whole army. So you currently have 7 barracks, 1 with the tech lab. You need more Marauders. It's one of the things I actually noticed with another player. Your combat shield's really late. Obviously, you don't have concussive shells. You haven't been building that. Protoss very often run Stalkers, so having that is very useful. We're going to jump into upgrades just to see what we have. We only have +1/+1. Don't forget your army so you can continue to upgrade. And then make sure that you are saturating appropriately all of your gases so that you don't get in a situation where you're imbalanced this far. Obviously, you're building a crazy number of Marines. Good job. But we want to make sure that we start to move into more complicated units. So when do you want to go for your Liberators? I know that's hard to use, so maybe BCs or Thors. Eventually, you're going to want to get out of Marines. So you want to kind of make sure that you're thinking long-term, which direction do I want to go for the final battle? Against a Protoss, there you saw that they had the Tempest. Those are counter BCs, so Thors are the correct answer. Or just producing mass Vikings, which you had that in the bag. So you actually did a really good job. But you won't always run into a situation where your opponent's doing that. That's why I'm kind of saying, hey, make sure you're kind of thinking about those things. BCs also work because they place your opponent out of position. Like you could put a BC here, this base, and this base, not micro them at all, and then A, move the rest of your army, and you're actually able to do a significant amount of damage, make them scramble all over the place, and it's only like 4 clicks for you. You go, click BC, press the teleport button, click there, click BC, put the teleport button, click there on your mini bat, right? do the same thing with 4 or 5 BCs, and now you have a BC on all of their bases, and they're in all kinds of trouble. Now, let's go ahead and jump back to our visual that comes back from SC2 replays. As you can see, we talked a little bit about these kind of things to help you improve. Supply block was huge. You were there for a very, very long time. Your tanks were quite slow to get out, and then your positioning of them and over micro control of them was a little tiny much. Your opponent obviously failed to expand behind his aggression. He failed to tech or change his path until you had completely conquered what he had done. So in this area, we're looking at just a bunch of... We don't have anything but cannons in a forge. And we are at 9 minutes into the game. He's got 1 Nexus. He hasn't built anything to make it so he's progressed beyond that one location. You have 4 tanks, 7 Marines. You could literally walk across the map and kill him with what you have. And we look back a lot to that game. At one point, you had 10 Marines, and you were fighting cannons that were under construction, and then you let your Marines dive to the probe that was there, and you ended up losing most of your Marines. But if you had not lost most of your Marines, you could see 9, 8, 3. If you had sent half of those Marines over to the other side of the map and just ignored them entirely, and just controlled the units that were on your screen by box selecting, click in a box and select, and then A click to wherever you wanted to target, and you just focused on the cannons that are getting too close, not protected by others, while your 5 other Marines are on the other side of the map, you could easily win right there. Again, I'm not saying you've done anything wrong, just when you get cannon rush next time, make sure that you're thinking, how can I get my tank out as fast as possible? How can I make sure my tank's protected? And how can I make sure that my opponent's actually being honest and doesn't have anything at home? That'll end your games a little bit faster and get you a clear win on that. In addition, you didn't do any kind of visualization. You didn't find out how many bases he expanded. You didn't find out any what tech he was doing. You didn't scan him, except for that one really cool scan. I really love the fact that you checked for his natural. But you need to send a Marine around the map to make sure. Scan his mains, see what buildings he's actually producing, things of that nature. You did a great job of pressuring him. Your attack angle was a little... put you in a chokehold, so maybe adjust from going in a path that's very small. Like, your army was big. It was like, a huge chunk of your screen. You were attacking in a hole this big, and your army is this big. They don't fit. So your army has to squeeze through that hole that you generated, which took time, by the way. Time is a very valuable resource in StarCraft. Something that you eventually will learn and figure out. I'm not advocating that you wouldn't know these kind of things, you would know these things, right? I'm just helping you think about them. Time is a resource. Attention is part of the time resource, and that's where I'm saying, hey, you aren't respecting time in any way, shape, or form. You said, oh, I know that what he's doing and where he's at and all that stuff, and then you go to attack, and you gave him more time as much time as you possibly could, essentially, before you actually walked in. It didn't end up hurting you this game, but in the future it might end up hurting. And those are some things that you want to kind of back of your head eventually think about. What else did we really see? Your upgrades. I do like the fact that you did them. +1 attack, getting stem, using stem. Combat shield and stem should have been way back here, about this area. Once your tank's done, stem. Combat shield immediately after that, right? You have the gas income, cool. Expanding earlier, again, you're at a level in play where you're learning and figuring it out. So I don't want to over push that, but I'm telling you that eventually you need to have more than one base at the 10-minute mark. I think it was when you were starting to get into your second base. 10 minutes. So you should be looking at your second base at 5 minutes. Third base should be about 7 minutes, give or take. So there's a lot of opportunities to improve, but there is a lot of things that you did well. And obviously, every game you want to focus on one thing to improve. In this situation, the thing that I would have focused on is sending a counterattack to their base and making sure that they're honest. They actually have cannons at home. Make sure that they're not investing everything at your base. That's one big thing that I would have probably done. Pretty easy, just select half your army and an attack move. Just box half of it. Don't count. Don't worry about the specific numbers. Just a hand split right down the middle of the box, right? Whoop, and get half, right? That enough, and move it over there. Once they engage, so pay attention to your mini map. Once you like glance at your mini map, go, are they almost there? Are they almost there? Are they almost there? All right, attack with this army. Are they almost there? Are they almost there? Pull your army back at home, and then jump to that other one by clicking on the mini map, selecting them, and then having them attack the things you need them to attack, or to turn them and say, oh, he's got cannons, let me run home. And then making sure that you expand a little bit earlier. You were on that one base for a very, very long time. Those would be the two things that I would probably focus on pretty heavily. The third would be getting your tank a little bit earlier. Basically, barracks, refinery. That way you can get to your factory pretty quickly. And a Reaper if you eventually transition your builds to that, or making it so you can get a reactor earlier, tech lab earlier, stim earlier, combat shield earlier. And then making sure that when you get supply blocked, that you fix the supply block as fast as possible. That would be the fourth thing that I would probably focus on. Everything else that you did, obviously, this is only one game, and we all have different things that we're improving on and learning about and all those other kind of things. So I applaud you for putting yourself out there, and I look forward to seeing some other games. And if you'd like me to review some more, just let me know. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Bye.